see that here. This is my PM Express flyer that we put out on a daily basis before a show. And today is exactly the 12th of August. Exactly 6 days after that helicopter crash, that tragic national moment of sadness, we had this show. And the title of the show is quite instructive. Ghana mourns, winning the galamsey war in honor of the fallen. Because at the time when this happened, my civil society friends were clear that if we had been lackluster, lackadaisical in our fight against illegal mining, the death, the tragedy must galvanize action, must change the path, must just inspire us to wage this relentless war in the manner we've never done before. And that the truest tribute we can pay to them is to win the war. And so we said, let's have this conversation. And so we brought together Ken Ashigbe, Darabosu, Senyor Hosi, and the UTAC national president for a conversation. And they were all hopeful that that tragedy will change the course of history as far as our fight against and our war against illegal mining is concerned. A year on, exactly today, we're bringing some of them back. And we're going to ask them the question, if they look back now, the optimism they showed then, has the evidence of the last 12 months in terms of what the government had done in fighting illegal mining, has it proven them right, or have they been proven wrong? Because some of them were very confident that this would change the game in terms of the intensity with which we fight this war. So a year on, have we done what they were expecting? Have we seized that moment, that sacrifice, to do what many of them on the show exactly a year ago today were expecting? Have the expectations of an intensified, renewed, brutal war that will lead to a victory at the end, have that expectation been met a year on? Because they expressed that to us. They were hopeful that something will change. Some of them will join me tonight, and I'll put that question to them. So this was really fascinating. We didn't plan it. It just happened that we had thought about this last week when we were commemorating, and we said we would take out some time to do some research and do the show today. And it just happened coincidentally that it coincides with a show that we had done exactly a year ago today, asking a similar question. A year on, let's do the scorecard. So we all know what happened when we lost these gallant heroes, but they were on their way to commissioning a project, part of the government's concerted, coordinated push to deal with illegal mining. And this was the launch of the Responsible Cooperative Mining and Skills Development Program at the time. And the minister was waiting for them at the time. You know, they were flying in. The minister was already in the ground. The Lands and Natural Resources Minister was on the way flying, was there waiting for them as they made their way to the grounds. And of course, we saw what happened when, unfortunately, the helicopter crashed and they lost their lives. All of them perished. It was a tragic day indeed, and we just remembered that. We will never forget, indeed, just on the 6th of August. But during that ceremony, on the 6th of August, just last week, Mrs. Abigail Abuaje, wife of Mr. Abuaje, who was on the flight that also perished, said something powerful. And that really was inspiration for today's show. I want you to listen to her in her own words.
Samuel died on his way to a fight that is yet not finished. The rivers he was going to defend are still being poisoned. The land is still bleeding. The truest tribute we can pay this aid is not a speech. It is to finish their work. Please, do not let us be the last year we remember them.
And there's a line there that I need to repeat, and I'll play that again. But she says there, the truest tribute we can pay these eight is not a speech, it is to finish their work. Listen again.
Samuel died on his way to a fight that is yet not finished. The rivers he was going to defend are still being poisoned. The land is still bleeding. The truest tribute we can pay this aid is not a speech. It is to finish their work. Please, do not let us be the last year we remember them.
Powerful indeed. The truest tribute we can pay these 8 is not a speech. It is to finish their work. And so tonight we need to ask ourselves a question. Are we on a path to finishing their work a year on? Have we even begun? Or are we actually going backwards? Is it a retrogression in the fight? It could be one of these 3. We are finishing their work. We're on the path. We've firmly put ourselves on the course. We've stagnated, or we are in retreat. And my guest will help me analyze that, because that is a very powerful statement coming from a widow who's telling us that my husband sacrificed for all of us. And his sacrifice was fundamentally to help us win the war against illegal mining. And so she is pleading with all of us. And so speaking in front of very powerful people in this country, that our truest tribute, all of us, is to finish that work. In other words, what she was saying was, if we do not finish their work, their sacrifice will be in vain. And that will be the biggest blot on this country's history, long history, proud history of dealing with challenges. We failed these 8 who died. And so hold on to that, hold on to this, and we'll come back to it when we sit for a conversation. Very powerful indeed. And so what we decided to do is to look at a few indicators before the 6th of August 2025 and after the 6th of August 2025. So we're looking at January, basically January to 6th of August 2025 and 6th of August to date, right? We're sort of looking at some parameters there. It doesn't give you a full picture, but it just gives you a sense of where we are. Now, this is as of February 2025. In terms of the forest reserves lost to illegal mining, we were told, according to the Lands Ministry, that we had 5,500 hectares. That is equivalent to 7,500 football fields that had been destroyed by galamsey. This is all happening before the crash, right? That's one data point that we looked at. And then at the time, so what we need now to make a decision on whether or not we're progressing is to say, so as we speak tonight, where are we with this? Has this increased or has this reduced? We don't have that data, but it's to put this out. And my guest maybe may weigh in on whether they have any more to add to this particular picture. We don't have this data yet. But another thing that we thought we should highlight, and this is very important, is what was the major conversations last year before the crash about galamsey, about illegal mining, and what we needed to do as a primary solution to the problem, or fundamental solution to the problem. That we found was, if you forgot this, there was a clamor, a national clamor for the declaration of a state of emergency over water bodies and to deploy the military into these areas. That was a clamor. There was consensus among civil society, the clergy, and the TUC and other bodies that we cannot win the war unless we have a state of emergency, declare a state of emergency in these areas. It was the biggest clamor of the time. Everybody was calling for it. Press conferences were held, asking the government to do that. And so that for us was important. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is this has disappeared. This call has disappeared. But the reason why it's interesting is that the problem with galamsey hasn't ended. It's still very live. So if this was the catalyst to winning the war in 2025 before the helicopter crash, it should still be the catalyst, but it isn't there. So that immediately begins to tell you that the path towards finishing their work, if this indeed was, as civil society agreed at the time, was a fundamental solution to the problem, at least the fundamental solution upon which you build the others, reclamation, etc. If this was what they believed then, this hasn't happened. The galamsey is still happening across our regions and forests and water bodies have been destroyed. Then it tells you that we are possibly in a retreat because you don't have that solution being deployed. So as we're told, if you didn't have a state of emergency, people could destroy the water bodies with impunity. And Ken Ashigbe was leading that. And so he's joining me on that. We'll talk about that. And then interestingly, so these were all happening before the crash. After the crash, the first opportunity the president had to speak on this call was when he met civil society. And this was on the 6th of October, 2025. So about 2-3 months after the helicopter crash, this is August. So just around 2 months after the helicopter crash. His response to the civil society at the time was, we are not there yet. The National Security Council believes we can win the galamsey fight without the state of emergency. He said, but the day they advise me to otherwise, I will not hesitate to declare it. So he basically told us, and I watched this live, that he doesn't believe that we're at the point that required a state of emergency. A year on, we need to ask ourselves, has the president been proven right? That is, if you come to the conclusion that they are winning the war, then it justifies why he didn't impose it last year. And then that would have meant that the civil society groups and everybody else who was saying impose were wrong. So let's measure that a year on. That's another point we thought we should highlight. And you see other NDC executives also towing the same line, basically saying work is being done, we don't need a state of emergency. So that was a view then at the time from, and by the way, this is 26th of August. 26th of August, 20 days after the crash, right? The national chairman of the party made that point, agreeing with the president. Now, and then you come to the river bodies polluted by galamsey activities. As of October 2025, again, we had 18 major river bodies affected. And you're talking about this media monitoring, and Erastus also was telling us a bit of it because he was on the ground, right? This is after. And then these were the river bodies that have been affected, a lot of them, right? And he counted them and listed all of them for us, a whole host of them as of October last year, after the crash. One of the things that you use to measure if indeed we are doing well is the turbidity of the river bodies. Now, at the time, it was very easy to track the turbidity because the Ghana Water Company was willing to hand that data over to us. So one of the things we did was to go to one of the water bodies that was most affected. And this was the Kwinyako headworks. If you remember at the time, they shut it down because it was too polluted. They just could not process water. So they shut it down. It really triggered a crisis. We even did a series on it called Dear Mahama, Stop Galamsey. At the time we went to do this, and this was on the 6th of September when we went to tell the story, it was 94,800. That was a water turbidity at the time, right? 94,800. Now, the interesting thing about this is we went back today to try and check what has happened. And by the way, the safe levels for turbidity, right? The safe levels for turbidity should be way in the region of 15, 16 thereabout. But we managed to move it gradually up as the waters get destroyed to what it was now. Today, when we tried checking, we realized everybody else in Ghana Water Company told us something very clearly, and they were very frank with us. We can no longer give you the data because we've been told not to, right? We've been told not to. And that some of them who had given the data out were actually victimized. And they were very blunt with us that way. And so we didn't get the data. This is something that we could easily lay our hands on. It wasn't a big deal. But now we've been told that Ghana Water Company we've been told the officers who normally will give us the data says we can share. So we don't have an update on what the turbidity levels are, at least for this same area here, which was shut down last year. We don't have the update. But I'm telling you that last year when we did this, in September when we went there, they told it was clear. This is an official document that they used to record. They have it. It's simple. Just simply tell me, and I have asked the whole day, everybody telling me, listen, if I give you, it may trace back to me, I may be in trouble, I can't help you. Or you wait, I can come back to you later, and it didn't happen. So 94,000 and to you, 94,800 was what it was last year. It'll be interesting to know what it is now. I've told you why we can't get the data already. And then we have the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations. Another element in the fight against illegal mining, as far as the government is concerned. It was a major part of the illegal mining war, one of the key interventions, right? And so we thought we should look at that too, because that was inaugurated on July 26th, before the crash, right? It was the operational nerve center for Ghana's galamsey fight at the time it was launched. And one of the things we decided to do was to measure, again, what government decided to do after the NIMOS was launched. And one of the things you will notice very clearly in life, you put your money where your mouth is. If this is very important to you, we need to see monies going there. So what did we see? In 2025, as far as the allocation to anti-galamsey operations are concerned, it was 50 million, right? And then we look at, in 2026, it's increased to 150 million. So that clearly shows you that there's more commitment, at least in terms of allocation. And allocation is not disbursement, and I need to clear that up. The fact that it has been allocated doesn't mean that they disbursed it necessarily, and it's the disbursement that matters, not allocation, right? And this tells us a story, right? So out of the 150 million that was allocated for 2026, in the mid-year budget, we are told that 16 million have been paid out so far. So you see the point I'm making. So if you allocate 150 million to NIMOS, and this is very specifically to NIMOS for galamsey fight, but only 16 million has been disbursed, that will scream alarm. What's happening here, right? Does this show commitment? My guess will win. You can make up your own mind about that. We're just showing you what the data says. And NIMOS operations, again, according to the Lands Ministry, in terms of, so what work happened over the period? We saw that as of March 2026, they had 122 raids and arrest of 337. Now, if you come to January to date, that number, when it comes to raids, have gone up. So they're doing more work. They're doing more work in this phase of January to June 2026. And then if you also look at arrests, 207. So you can say that there's some serious work happening here that you can clearly see in terms of the numbers that we were given. And then we also said, let's try and disaggregate the NIMOS arrests that we can independently check based on media reports between April to date. And we see that there have been 176 arrests. So this is good, right? But you need to go beyond the arrests to the question of how many of these individuals are we actually prosecuting? So you can arrest and let people go. And that's another thing that we need some transparency and sunshine on. So hard questions then needs to be asked as we look at what has happened. And the other thing I needed to measure was the civil society intensity when it comes to the campaign against illegal mining. Has it waned, or is it still alive as it used to be before SIF? So we're measuring two time frames, January 2025 to 6th August 2025, and post August 6th 2025 to date, 2 periods. And what we did was to measure, look at media reports, anything that reference civil society campaign, objections, demands. And we define civil society broadly to include GMA, the organized labor, the TUC, the Kenashi-based group, and others. So because we wanted to track if the intensity is still there, that desire is still there. And you could probably see it through, we thought that one of the best ways to do it is to look at media references to demands, protests, etc., and talk around this, references civil society. And what we found was that in that period, we found 20 media reports on this, where it referenced civil society campaign, etc. But this was the first phase, before the crash, the helicopter crash. After, it's ballooned to 46. But if you disaggregate the numbers, something interesting is happening. In the first 5 months after the crash, there was a huge surge. Almost 90% of the references we saw was in that phase. And then there was a sharp drop after the first 5 months in terms of the intensity of the civil society activism around illegal mining. And that tells you something. It served as a galvanizing force, the helicopter crash, but it's silently and quietly tapering off. And I'll put that to Kenashi on that. And even the media own enthusiasm around this is also reflected in this. So we are also I guess, one of the factors in we almost becoming fatigued, and so we are not as out there on the subject as we used. So we're giving the politicians a huge break, and so possibly also going to bed on the subject, right? So that for me was a very important measure. My guests are going to weigh in on that very important question that the wife of one of the, the heroes who died on their way to fighting this league told us. We're going to measure what has happened since around what she was asking all of us to do, that we should not forget, we should continue on the fight, and that our truest monument to them will be to finish their work. That is what I'm going to get my panelists to weigh in on and see if we are all on this path to doing this with the government in the lead, or we've dropped the ball and left her to simply continue to remember the pain that this caused her, made even more excruciating in the knowledge that the husband possibly died in vain. Stay with me after this.
Hello, my name is Pamela from Customer Service. Please revalidate your account by texting your Ghana card number to 0500,000 247.
Hey, Abili, wabadim.
Madam, give me the numbers behind your ATM card. I'm calling from the head office.
An email was delivered across to our customers this morning.
Confirm if this is your bank account. 100,100,100.
Thanks for sending your bank card details.
Send the OTP now to avoid cancellation.
EcoBank will never call, email, send an SMS asking for your PIN, OTP, bank card, or Ghana card details.
Don't get played. EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank.
Hello, please, I'm calling from Customer Experience Center.
Palladium Residences in Achimota isn't just an address, it's the home you truly earned. Secure your place with just a 10% deposit and choose from beautifully designed modern apartments or spacious townhouses built for everyday comfort. This is more than a building. It's a vibrant, curated community with a clubhouse, state-of-the-art gym, and an on-site hotel, all at ABC Junction, minutes from Achimota Mall. Enjoy city energy while retreating to your private sanctuary. Call now to reserve your unit and benefit from limited launch incentives, including priority unit selection, executive pricing, and flexible payment options available. Don't miss the chance to pick the best homes. Book your private site visit today. Call 050-9823-424. Palladium Residences. Live smart, invest better.
That's right. Did you see that? That is me. Without me, that type of just decoration.
That's so. So when the water comes, where exactly is it waiting? Pipe. I also didn't see any bedroom one on all. Me tank. Me na me cry.
At least I move water.
And I keep it safe.
Without me, nothing flows.
What's happening?
I bring the life.
I preserve it.
Hey, why is the water going on and off like this? Maybe I can do it alone.
Maybe I need you too.
Strong, reliable, built for every home.
Syntex pipes and tanks. The perfect
water team. Syntex. Are you strong? Are you tough?
Tee up someone in red. And it goes to
That's who goal is for. I got 5 Champions League. You want to know? I be the real goal. Chairman. I be the real goal. The left magician.
Who is the GOAT? Ghana Jollof or Nigeria Jollof?
Ghana Jollof has no co-equal. The smell alone. Oh my God.
No, that shift. You two they lie, eh? Now the same stew when they use cook the rice and then they go put them for top.
Hey! You are lying. Ghana Jollof.
Are you busy? Forget everybody. Yeah.
My guy. Put some respect on the goat. On the goat. The only goat I know lives in Tama.
Every year we give to you back.
We are talking about PET. I want to hear the face.
Except be the goat, huh?
My guy, him be the goat.
Though our choice of goats may differ in football, music, and jollof, Alomobitus always brings us together. Alomo, experience greatness in every moment.
Drink responsibly. Not for sale to persons under 18. Not recommended to pregnant women. This advert is FDA approved.
Upgrade your print game with Konica Minolta, proudly powered by SkySat Technologies. From all-in-one machines that print, scan, and copy to professional systems and heavy-duty production machines, we deliver unmatched performance. Right now, SkySat has an unbeatable offer. 1 entire year of free servicing on all Konica Minolta machines. That's 12 months of expert maintenance for new and existing customers. Visit our new VIP print center at Pegasus Place, Airport Residential Area for a live demonstration. Call us on 050-164-5180 or 0302-798-829. Again, it's 050-164-5180 or 0302-798-829. SkySat Technologies. Performance that delivers every time. Missed passes? Bad referee decisions? Don't let your child's grade suffer a bad match. Ensure a straight win this academic season with curriculum-aligned textbooks and interactive tools from Pegasus Publishing. From preschool to senior high school, we have the exact game plan your kids need to ace their classes. And because it's World Cup season, you get a massive 20% off every single book. Don't drop points. Call 059-50-10175 or dash to Pegasus Publishing in Accra, Newtown, right opposite the Total Energy Station. Free delivery within Accra when you call. Pegasus Publishing, shaping minds, winning futures.
Why? What's wrong?
Paper jam.
Introducing Ghana's leading pay-as-you-copy photocopier leasing company. Lease an A4, A3, heavy-duty or production machine and pay for only the copies made or design your own payment plan. Simple and tietia. That's not all. Incredibly, toners, repairs, maintenance, follow-me printing, centralized tracking all come free of charge. Remember, financial prudence is the name of the game. Folks, forget about the expensive gimmicks and be smart. Join the hundreds of satisfied clients across all the 16 regions and every sector of the economy and save over 60% of your printing costs. Visit us at www.valexlease.com or call 0244-644048. Be prudent and lease a copier. Terms and conditions apply. Valex Lease is a wholly owned Ghanaian company. Valex Lease, affordable document management solutions.
civil servant is caught in corruption, he is either suspended or dismissed. But when a political leader is caught, all we hear is, oh, we are setting up a committee and let us allow investigations to work. And before you realize, their names have been cleared quiet.
My opponent obviously generated their point from alibaba.com. Otherwise, they would have discovered that 74% of all corruption cases in Africa are as a result of civil servants and not the politicians, as reported by Transparency International in the year 2022.
The battle of brilliant ideas is back. The 2026 Love FM Kel Chaco Toothpaste High Schools debate is finally here, bringing together the brightest young minds from across the Ashanti region to challenge opinions, defend facts, and inspire a new generation of leaders. Watch students from some of the region's finest senior high schools go head-to-head on thought-provoking national and global issues as they battle for glory, pride, and the ultimate debate championship. Love FM Kel Chaco Toothpaste High Schools debate is in partnership with the Ashanti Regional SRC, CHAS, and the Regional Directorate of GES. Love FM Kel Chaco Toothpaste High Schools debate, trumpeting the voice of young ones on issues of national interest. Powered by
And thanks very much for staying with us here on PM Express. It is brought to you by Syntex Tanks. It is strong. It is tough. Pepsodent Cavity Fighter Toothpaste and Stanbic CIB Impact Series. And if you're looking for a tank to store water that is durable, you look no further than the tortoise symbol. It's your sign of quality. Also tonight, before you sleep, please look for the Pepsodent Cavity Fighter Toothpaste and use that, because that is the surest way to guarantee fresher breath and avoid all the challenges that come with foul breath and tooth decay and all the challenges you may have with your mouth. And you're looking to invest? Look no further than the Stanbic Corporate and Investment Banking. They will partner with your businesses, drive Ghana and Africa's growth. Call them on 030-281-5789 to speak to their CIB team, or visit stanbicbank.com.gh and get started. Stanbic Corporate Investment Banking, driving growth, creating sustainable impact. And my guest joining me is Darrell Bosu, the Deputy National Director at Arocha Ghana. He was with me exactly a year ago tonight, having pretty much the same conversation. And this was 6 days after the helicopter crash that killed those 8 gallant men. And we were, at the time, exploring whether or not that tragedy will galvanize action that could lead us to fight this war more relentlessly in their honor. And he's back. And by the way, I honestly, we didn't call him back because we're going to do an anniversary of the show. It just so happened that he's been so consistent on the subject that we just had to ask him to come. It was just recently, last couple of hours, Facebook reminded us that there's an anniversary to mark when it comes to the conversation we are having. Kwesi Kunedu, the Deputy Ranking Member on the Lands and Natural Resources Committee, also joins us on Zoom. And of course, Dr. Kenneth Ashigbe, the CEO of the Ghana Chamber of Mines convener of the Media Coalition Against Illegal Mining, and he was also on the show exactly a year ago tonight with Darrell, answering that question. Ghana Mons winning the Galamsey War and honor the following, and both of them agreed that they were expecting that finally something would change in our fight against Galamsey. I'm just dying to ask him that first question, whether the expectations have been met. Reverend Father Michael Kweku is the Director for Governance, Justice and Peace at the Ghana Catholic Bishops' Conference. They've been possibly one of the most dedicated Christian religious groups when it comes to the fight against illegal mining. And I'm delighted to have him join us. And you know him, Erastus Aridonko. We can't have this conversation without him. He's been the man on the ground, boots on the ground. He sees these on a daily basis, and he can tell us, give us a sense of where we are, whether or not he's seen any improvement. Environmental journalist, my colleague, Erastus, thank you very much. Gentlemen, all of you, I'm grateful that you could join me. And there's only one place to start. I want to go back a year ago, 12th of August, on PM Express. Darrell, I'm starting with you. You were here, like Dr. Shibe, I'll come to him. You all agreed that this was a moment we needed to take advantage of in their memory to just win this war or begin a journey towards winning the war. You were expectant that something will change, something more drastic and dramatic will happen in that fight. A year on, what do you say? Have the expectations been met?
Good evening, Evans. I must say that, yes, I mean, you are very much on point when you say we had a lot of expectations. And I must say again that, yes, we did. We did have a lot of expectations. I mean, this question I've answered in the last, I'll say, 2 weeks, and I practically had to use the word hopeless.
Okay.
I think that where we find ourselves, we are at a point where we are completely losing leadership. We started well, and then when the incident happened, we're all kind of like got all this sudden momentum. We built this sudden momentum. Everybody was rallying behind the goal. And then somehow we lost track. We took our eyes off the ball, and everything went back to what it was, if not worse. I mean, I was following your statistics, your data, and I would say that I have even some more to fill in because, like you said, I mean, it's really gotten that bad to the extent that we thought we had a baseline. We're going to maintain it there and even anything at all, reduce the risks, but gain some grounds in terms of the campaign. But, I mean, the way we sit and from being on the ground just last week and seeing what is happening, I had no choice than to say we are at a point of hopelessness.
Okay, pause. So you're saying a year on, we are worse off.
Yes.
In the fight against Galamsey. Okay, pause. And I know you have a lot of data, so I'll come so that you can point us to some of the specifics that leads you to that conclusion. Dr. Ashigbe, what do you say?
Evans, there's a clip that I wish you had played.
I'm going to play that. I'm going to play that very shortly. Okay, so do we have that? Okay, a second. You proceed. I'll play that before you end your preliminary submission.
So the one you're going to play, but there's another one on that particular show. This is me in my elements telling Prof, the UTAC president.
Yeah.
That, this one where we have gotten to, you're talking about the president's confidant who has been touched, and that the president were definitely going to get to a point where we were going to recover. So how dare all of us that you have in a year, you have a police station overlooking a river that Galamsey is taking place, and we allow that to happen. How dare all of us that we have these people die? And what asks Erastus, what we are calling the responsible mining that they were going to launch. He speaks to a man who is mining in a waterway by the road, the Bekwai Road, just by the road, and nothing is happening to him. How dare all of us that on the road from Bonsu through Enyinem, through Osino, and heading in clear sight, people are just doing these things with reckless abandon. So for me, unfortunately, including myself, I'm not too sure we've honored them. And the interesting thing, the wife of the Deputy Director General of NADMO had said something that if we should by now be bowing our heads in shame. And if for me, this is the minister, a cabinet minister, a foreign minister says they had just had a short cabinet meeting and the dedication to the fight was going to be intensified. And let me give you another example in what you just said. One of the asks that we had as civil society of His Excellency the President, which he told us that was going to be happening, is the fact that they were going to publish the water quality results on a monthly basis. But now we go to a state entity that is paid with, and they don't think that we need to know that the water that we are drinking, is it because those who are running it are part of the people who are importing water? And that's what they're drinking. All of us. For me, and again, well, there's a Catholic priest here. But because there's a Catholic involved, who I believe is currently a saint, my prayer to them, anybody who is benefiting from galamsey, anybody who is sitting on and looking at, sitting aloof, the time has come for us to pray that prayer that would let God himself intervene. We will do what we have to do humanly possible, but we need the intervention, including everybody who has to take a decision, who is failing us. You talk about water bodies, that the turbidity that they are not telling us. But we can tell you that if you go to Chebi currently, the Chebi water treatment plant is shut. It is because the turbidity of water, you can't operate it. Because what would go into it will be sludge. So definitely from what we are seeing, we have unfortunately not honored these people who have died in the quest of saying that they are going to save all of us our lives. We have not honored them. And
I want to play the wife of the Deputy Director General again, because you cannot run away from the point that she made. And possibly she's the only one who made a direct reference, a direct link between the tragedy and illegal mining. It was so powerful. We have that. Please play that again. And let's just to reiterate the point and to buttress the point that Dr. Ken Ashigbe just made there.
Samuel died on his way to a fight that is yet not finished. The rivers he was going to defend are still being poisoned. The land is still bleeding. The truest tribute we can pay this aid is not a speech. It is to finish their work. Please, do not let us be the last year we remember them.
Truest tribute we can pay to them is not a speech. It is to finish their work. I can't repeat that enough. And I want to bring in Reverend into the conversation. Reverend, and I know one of the things that Reverend ministers, I don't envy you do at all, is you're those who comfort us in time of grief. And when we go to funerals, you see the Reverend minister trying to give us hope, trying to tell us why we should look on the brighter side and that this God intended for this to happen and that everything works together for good. But Reverend, if you listen to the wife of one of the fallen heroes say what she says here, and then you listen to Dr. Ashigbe and you listen to Daryl on the ground, who tell you that what she's asking for, the state, this government, all of us, we failed her, and that possibly the husband's death is going to be in vain because we can't finish this fight. Can you realistically still say to her that basically this death was a purpose behind it? Give us your how you read into this from a unique point of view of a Reverend minister as we talk about this galamsey problem.
Thanks very, very much, Evans. I wish my analysis of the situation currently was any comforting to this widow. But alas, it is worse. The picture is bleaker than it was before.
and I have a feeling that somehow we have grown accustomed to the rather sad Ghanaian, saying that Ehura Ebejo. That the tragedy happened. There was a bit of euphoria, some promise of the possibility of the will, politically and otherwise, to fight and to overcome this menace, this suicidal endeavor that we find ourselves doing. And I don't think that any of those who are involved in this is a ghost, because all of them, those who are involved in it, whether they are the younger men and women, the less powerful, or even those we call the kingpin, you are tempted. You are tempted, if it wasn't because we were people of faith and hope, to give up, because you don't see the will. There's a lot of rhetoric, but very little of serious action is happening. I'm in a rather somber moment today, because the tragedy, even though it affected all of us, one of them was very, very close to me.
Okay.
The Honorable Omane Boama.
Okay.
We were very, 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 very close. In fact, exactly a month after we had met and spoken, and I think a month and a day after we had been texting at night about issues of national interest, my friend was being buried.
Mm.
And for what?
And for what?
And for what?
And for what? That's a very powerful question. That's a very powerful question. That's a very powerful question.
If the situation is worse than it was when he was alive, or when he died, and all of the other gallant men, and we've. I'm sure if you asked some people to enumerate some of the actions which have been taken, they would. And I'm not saying nothing is being done, but it is sad. It really is disappointing. People, for instance, yesterday I was defending, a paper that I had researched. Monies had been paid for me to go and do a research, at Notre Dame University about the security implications of this and the strategic peace building around this. And bishops are talking, men and women of goodwill are speaking and are fighting hard. And yet, I'm sure for those who maybe there's a brighter picture that I don't see, but I can't see currently. The picture for me is too bleak and too dark for me to be smiling about it.
It's too dark. And Dr. Ashigbe, I'll come to your Erasmus pretty shortly, but you referenced an announcement made by the Foreign Affairs Minister shortly after the tragedy, and this was a cabinet meeting. We knew that happened because you told us. And I want to play that. And Dr. Ashigbe, you were making a point that I'll play that and ask you what point you were making, whether this is Kudeta Blackwell, the Foreign Affairs Minister, shortly after a cabinet meeting following the tragedy.
You are going to see a fight that has never been witnessed in this country. President Mahama is going to lead a very ruthless and relentless campaign against galamsey. He has not minced words at all. We had a brief cabinet meeting earlier today, and the president was very clear. There was no ambiguity that he will be leading a war that we have never seen to deal with this counter, this existential threat once and for all.
Are you saying that you haven't seen, quote, that war that we've never seen since the 6th of August, 2025?
So again, Evans, just tell me, as somebody who's a watcher, and again, with all the data that you have seen, if we're waging relentless wars, look at, the even just follow what Erastus has been reporting alone. If we're waging these relentless wars, when the people in Chebi now be drinking water from the water treatment plant, will the people in Takwa, for example, be doing that? And for me, again, it's just like we're a country where we don't honor our death. People die, and the decisions that we have to take, so you saw the Honorable Minister looking, again, and I know Honorable Kujitua Blakwa means well. And even in this fight, I know he means well. But again, what have we done? We've just gone back, It is after this particular, if we're waging a relentless war. Again, I just want to use what has happened on multimedia, where you have a situation where MCs and their assigns go to the theater of a crime and go and collect permits, charge people for committing the crime, or take equipment that government itself has prescribed, chamfans, 1 legs, and are collecting money for them. And the media gets evidence, and all we are told is that they did not know, and we are going to train them. Is that what we say? You will go into a place like Oda, where the sitting MP says that the DC, has done wrong by facilitating galamsey, because he just looks at the fact that the people who are causing the damage, the people for whom these people died, he goes and collects 15,000, 10,000 from them, and he does not ask the question, do these people have the permits? Are they mining illegally? And then he does that, and nobody investigates that. That a certain member of parliament for our win, his chiefs accuse him of being involved in galamsey. And he says no, but it's the people. And that issue has not been investigated. That we have the situation where, Professor Frimpong Boaten's report itself is replete with a lot of people who have been accused of galamsey, and up till now, nothing has happened. That the Attorney General, in the meeting we had with His Excellency the President, tells us about the fact that the investigations are going on, and over up to a year, nothing has been done. Is this a relentless war that we are waging? Is it a relentless war that we are waging?
And Doc, stay with me. I want to bring in Erastus now. Erastus, you are on the ground on a weekly, monthly basis, measuring the pulse as far as the galamsey fight is concerned. Before we even go to how West has become, as you've witnessed, can you find any evidence of progress at all across any of the galamsey ravaged areas you've been, or in your conversations with authority and those behind it, that maybe you can point to say, in this small area, we've made some progress? And while while you come to answer that, I noted in my analysis there that if you look at budgetary allocation to the fight, year on year, it's increased, right? So 50 million in 2025 and then 150 million in 2026, except that as we were updated in the media budget, the disbursement paid so far is pretty small, which is 16 million. So that raises the question. But at least the allocation is increased, which is an acknowledgement that government really intends to do more. I don't know what has happened that has led to that small disbursement. So you can point to that. That's one area that at least they're showing some, urgency. Erastus, can you find any other area in the last 1 year where you can point to say, in this small area, there's some progress?
Well, I have said it and I'll say it again, that in the area of forest reserves, we made a significant improvement. When you compare that to when we started 2025, there were a number of red zones. The Forestry Commission describes them as red zones because there were armed people who had staged roadblocks and taking over the forest reserves, and you cannot enter. Not even the forest guards could even enter, the rapid response teams. And I can mention a number of them, the Tananya, Yoyo, Offin Shelter Belt. Even some forest guards were killed. Some of them were maimed in those forests. And as we entered into 2026, we had 0 of those red zones. And so it tells you that, yes, we made quite a significant progress in that area. And I will also attribute that to mainly the IGP's task force that he set up back then, and then some efforts of NIMOS under Colonel Boa in those particular periods. But I'm sad to say that we are retrogressing. We are going back. We are rolling back that progress. Currently, as we speak, the Forestry Commission has indicated that illegal miners are coming back to the forest reserves. Just recently, if you saw the stories that I did from Bekwai, one of those forest reserves, you had illegal miners pitching camp in those forest reserves. Now we have those that we call Pepe, the dig and wash people who are holding metal detectors, entering into certain areas within the Tano Anua and Tano Nimre forest reserves. So we made the gains, but we are, rolling it back gradually. And if we don't take care, all the gains will be lost, especially at a point where some of the excavators that were seized then were released back to the illegal miners. And so that is the gain that I will say we have chalked.
I mean, but what you say there is heartbreaking. And Darrell, to you next. The consensus around the table and the evidence around the table is quite overwhelming. You Rastos yourself, you guys have all of you come to the same conclusion that is worse. You actually made the point earlier that you actually even have more startling evidence to back your conclusion that this is hopeless. What is that?
Yes, I think we need to mention, I think Erastus has started that, also in terms of our baseline. I mean, like he said, whatever gains we made, the inaction and also the absence of dedication is rolling everything back. We started, according to the Ministry of Lands, when they took office, we had about 45 forest reserves that were encroached upon by illegal miners, and that was on record. It was in almost all the publications they did, out of which 9 of them, as they said, were red zones. Now we have over 50 forest reserves, which are now being encroached upon. So you see, instead of really staying at that 45 and working our way back, we rather tend to be gaining more in terms of people, more encroachment affecting some of our forest reserves. And then we have also seen significant territory expansion of the mining activities that we used to see. Before, you wouldn't include areas like the Mahin Crow areas and all of that in these areas. Even for Lake Busumtre areas, you wouldn't find these areas being directly targeted. But you see more and more of this encroachment happening. And then what we are seeing now with the forest reserve that Erasmus was talking about, you don't see the people going to live in the forest and take siege in there, but they make it a point on a daily basis to go in by night and out by day. So this makes it even more dangerous and even very difficult for the law enforcement agencies to really do the raids that they've been doing to be able to deal with it. And this makes it very much more difficult. If the people are staying in there, they are there, you go, you get rid of it. And that's how come when NIMOS was set up, they found it very easy to go after the NIME because they knew where these people were. But the miners have also improvised. They've really studied the law enforcement agencies, and it looks like our intelligence agencies is not matching up to the sly way these people are working. I'm sure you heard of one of them, even people mounting cameras so that they see when the operation team is coming around and all of that. It tells you that, look, things are getting bad, the miners are gaining more territory, we are not really doing well in terms of nipping them in the bud, keeping them there stable at a point where we say, okay, we are here, let's not see any further increase. That's not happening. And I've seen also some communities that didn't used to have mining happening there, now talking about people coming in, taking them, and by force, wanting to also mine in their areas. And so communities are fighting back, but it's not enough. Now, Evans, all of this come on the back of the fact that we set up the Blue Water Guards. Over 2,000 of them, according to the ministry, have been trained just to see and report. You would have expected that there should have been very significant gains just because of that, because these are people on the ground. You more or less see them as people who are in mufti in the communities and they see and all of that. But that hasn't helped in any way. If you ask the ministry, I'm very interested to hear what the gains have been in employing all of these people, paying them over the $1,000. I don't know how much they pay them, but I'm sure it's over $1,000 a day or a month or whatever. And then what a job exactly are they doing? You can't even see how they really support NIMOS to really do their work. So I think that a lot has gone in. I want to use our baseline. And I'm not going to allow the government to say we were here, so for as long as we have been able to get rid of 9 forest reserves and we are okay. No, we can't be okay. We expected better. Expectations were much higher than what they came to see. So from where we are, I think that we have really failed to take up the fight as we expected.
And I want to now, civil society, and I'll start with you, Daryl. Shouldn't civil society, all of us, also take part of this blame? Because as we found, and I wanted to disaggregate the data, but in terms of the intensity of the civil society clamor and campaign, when we sort of looked at using media reference as a point to measure this, it was clear that in the first 5 months after the crash, there was a surge in media activity. And then right after the 5 months, there was a massive collapse in terms of reference, which tells you that the consistency, the frequency with which yourself, Ashibe, myself, Erastus, and etc. were, talking about this and pushing the agenda, sort of just dissipated over the time. Isn't that part of the reason why we are all a year on saying we are retrogressing? It's getting worse. The damage is getting even more serious and debilitating because we've all also thrown in the towels somewhat. Do you accept that responsibility as a civil society person?
So I agree with you and admit that, and you are not the only one. I mean, a lot of people have said, you guys seem to have relaxed in terms of the fight against galamsey. But Evans, there has been serious frustration in the system, even for us. Because see, this government, we've met them on a few times, a couple of times at the Jubilee House, where the president has made statements, we've made demands, and they promise to really act on them. It's never gone anywhere. And then there's been several meetings also with the minister where we have even tabled all the issues we think still need addressed. And that's why we had issues of even the presidency. When the last meeting we had, the president promising to publish the water quality numbers for a lot of the rivers as for us as a key indicator of action. And that's why we also told that, okay, we'll wait for the National Security Council. If they say it's time to call for state of emergency, then we'll do it. And I guess that has also kind of pushed us to really go in, reflect, and then think about what else to do, because the government has been engaging with you, they listen to you, but when it comes to taking their action, they pick what they want and not really do what needs to be done in totality. Look at the issue of the members of the government who the president himself said he admits that his own people are engaged in illegal mining. They put up 2 names. Last year, if I'm not mistaken, last year. Ioko said they were doing an investigation. As we speak, we've never seen any report. And as Ken did mention, a lot of other people's names have been mentioned. We expect that the government will take action in terms of investigation, come to a conclusion. All we have seen so far is only Chairman Wontumi. And this is where we think that, yes, maybe you would think that we have relaxed, but it's not so. It's also because we've also been very seriously frustrated by the fact that you move and the government is not listening. And you ask yourself, what can you do?
Yeah, so for that point, so the question is, what can... Dr. Ashibe, what do you say to that assessment, that all of you are slowing down, you're too frustrated?
I hear that comments come from, other people where they accost us and say, oh, but you've been quiet, you've not been, and all of that. And I take part of the blame. I take part of the blame. But again, as Daryl has said, let me say that even the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources himself, the petitions that the Catholic Bishops' Conference sent to him, the petitions that the coalition sent to him, he set up a committee, and then the committee came up with some recommendation. Some of the recommendations were sent to His Excellency the President to deal with. Some of them were sent to other ministers to deal with. And Daryl would have seen it. I'm sure Father might also have seen the responses that the minister then sent to us. But the question you ask is that what has been the support that has come? So you get some of these things where you move one step and then there's a slowdown. So I would take it and say yes, we need to move this battle a bit further. But when you're giving promises that A is going to be done, B is going to be done, you have shown the data that showed that there's been an increase in allocation. But look at the 150 million compared to a 60 million by half year. Yeah. At least by half year, I'm expecting that all other things being equal, you'd have done, say, about 50%. So, or even, so that's about 75 million. But then you do that, and so I agree that even for all of us as civil society, and again, it's only civil society, it's the middle class, the way we have just decided that will sit. Even when you take the media, there's only one man that you really can say that has been, super engaged and in focus. It's Erastus. And again, multimedia, we can also say that you have also kept all of this. But it is something that I'm all hoping that out of this, that we have all started, we all would take the invitation that His Excellency has given to us to be able to deal with this issue. But you see, again, how much is it that you are able to do when it's as if the people you are fighting for themselves, get themselves resigned to what it is that you can do? And most of these civil society organizations, most of these media houses, nobody's paid for doing this. So it is all of us our responsibility to do that. So I would say I take the blame. Don't blame it on any civil society organization. Blame it on the convener for the Ghana Coalition. And let's all decide that we have had a metanoia. The Greeks will tell you a metanoia, a change of heart to say that from today onwards, let us all get our loins together and help fight this.
Erastus, are you feeling the fatigue too? The frustration that Daryl talks about?
Sometimes you feel like giving up because when you are doing this in a group and you have a lot of media stations and media personnel supporting you, it helps. But with time, and I've had so many people come to my Facebook page, some of them are, insult you and all that and say that you used to attack President Akufo-Addo, now you have lowered your bar and all that. Things have changed. In fact, myself, I have received a number of attacks. All of them, over 6 of them I have reported to the police, even the IGP himself. Some I have reported to even the Interior Ministry. Somebody has been stabbed just because he bears the same surname with me. And they think that he's my brother. And they sent a message that they will serve the head of that person to me as a warning. So clearly, you are aware, you are my boss, so you know that for some time I've been asked to stay away.
It's not everything you can disclose.
I've been asked to stay away from the field for some time because of that threat. So it's not because personally, and still I've been doing it. Yeah. Some of my reports were aired just 2 weeks ago. The one at Mpohofiase, the one from Ahwirin in the Bekwai area. I've still been going on the field, but cautiously, because if I have the embodiment, the support, and others of other media stations, other media personalities joining, so we are doing it as one, then it will be a little bit easier to go all out and do it. And I must say that it also doesn't come easy. It's expensive.
It is.
And you don't get institutions and people supporting you with funds to be able to continue. Some of us have done it till today. My last documentary on Tano Nimre was aired a month ago on Joy News. And still we are doing more. Even as I sit here, we are getting people on the ground who are still doing the work, and we are doing it. But we need more people to come on board. We need resource from NGOs, from well-meaning Ghanaians. And already, let me say, appreciation to the few who have been supporting us secretly behind the scenes to continue to do what we do.
Yeah.
So it's not like we have gone down or we want to go down, because the moment we start going down, that is where we are slipping into the abyss.
Well, and the evidence though show that over the last 3 or 4 months, the intensity has completely tapered off. And we see it's incremental after the last 5 months, after the first 5 months after the death, is very intense. And then you see it gradually slipping. In this month, hardly would you find references until they celebrate the commemoration last week to the fight. It was that day every media house was calling, Darrell was calling, and then so you see that we saw a spike. But that's basically it. We are looking for moments to rally, but that obviously won't move the needle at all. Now, it's very clear to me that in spite of everything else that has happened, from the campaign by the media coalition, Darrell, Erastus, if we do not have political will, all that will be in vain. And thankfully, we have one politician with us. He's Akufo-Addo. He's a deputy ranking member on the Lands and Natural Resources Committee in Parliament. I need to bring him in on that point. And Akufo, as a politician listening to the conclusion of civil society, that post the tragedy of 2025, we are worse off in our fight against galamsey. We are worse off in terms of the damage, and we are actually beating a retreat. We're retrogressing. You belong to the political class. How do you react to that when you hear that the political class have failed to take the steps needed to fix the problem when these solutions are very obvious?
Evans, thank you very much. And let me thank everybody for being here. Evans, we cannot put the political class together as one and just say the political class has failed. In as much as the discussion is ongoing and you are hearing and you are cheering, you've heard that gradually we are deteriorating from where we were, that there was the hue and cry about the devastation of galamsey activities in Ghana. Currently, the class that is ruling us, the government that is ruling us, has totally failed us in our quest to fight the illegal mining activities. And the wife of the former deputy minister could not have said it better. Evans, let's be candid to ourselves. We are not playing politics with this. We are just saying it as it is. And I shudder, and I was sad when I heard Engineer Kenashibe say that we must all bow down our heads in shame. No, we are all not going to bow down our heads in shame. We must let people understand that who they were yesterday, if they've changed, tell them they've changed. When yesterday people were shouting that we need to call a close on all small-scale mining activities in this country, there were people who had boots on the ground championing that. Where are they today? Evans, where are they? So you cannot obviously come to tell me that we must all bow down our heads in shame. He made a point about it is expensive and nobody is paying us to do it and the rest. Yes, Evans, yesterday who was paying us for us to do it? Where I realized that this fight was not going anywhere was Evans, somewhere around October of 2025, just about 2 or 3 months after the death of the 8th man, when government terminated licenses of small-scale miners in this country. That was when Gold Board has also come into play. And that was when government needed to buy more gold to finance what he termed as the forest trade in this country. Evans, you and I, where were they going to get it from? And you know perfectly well that as we speak now, small-scale mining activities has overtaken, small-scale mining gold has overtaken large-scale mining gold in terms of purchases and exports in this country. So where are we getting it from? Those who had the licenses, you took 278 of them off. Those individuals, where do you think they were going to? They were now going to mine illegally. Now it has gotten to a stage that even Nananum had to come in and be placing curses on people who are doing small-scale mining activities in this country. We've seen that in Atroni. We've seen some in Konongo. And Evans, when you're listening to the account of the Atroni chiefs, it's harrowing, where they tell you that people are well armed and protecting these illegal small-scale miners in the forest. Evans, it is sad. Erasmus, let me share with you. Let me share in your sorrows and in the person that was beaten. And Erasmus, it tells you that the people who are engaged in the activities now are emboldened because, first and foremost, they have people primarily in power backing them. You would not have heard what is happening in Oda happening. You would not have heard what is happening in Adanse, Asokwa happening, where behind Agenda 111, a facility that is meant to solve our health problems, it is being mined uncontrollably and people are looking at it. Go to Impoho, in front of a police station, people are mining. So it obviously tells you that the threat that people are bringing, because they have persons backing them, that is why now it is open and people are attacking people. Erasmus, it is sad. It is sad. Evans, let me tell you, if we are not bold the same way we were bold 2 years ago, open by this time, as this discussion would have been ongoing, you would have had bottles of water on your table, showing it to the Ghanaian populace how polluted the water bodies are. You told us from the onset that when you went to Ghana Water, just to have the turbidity report, they told you they cannot give it to you. It tells you that first and foremost, it has so been polluted that they cannot even share that public document to you and I. And there is no improvement in our forest. It's because the government will not want to put out there, Evans, they don't want to put out there what the real state of our forest is. So Evans, yes, probably. You might say that initially they said 44, 9 forests were in red zones and the rest. Those were things that the classifications were being given by the state. Let us go now. Places like Bosomtwe are having illegal mining activities now. Places that had never seen mining. You call the minister and the minister will not be forthcoming with information. You request because of the numbers that they have now, they are shielded by that and they will not want to be open about that. The best that we can do is to have us discussing this on daily basis. Have the water on your table on daily basis. Display that before even any program is being organized. And I can tell you, what happened to the decriminalization that we were being told in February of 2026? We told them that was a hoax. We would always want to put something out there to tell people that we would want to do something, knowing very well that that would be a discussion for a day or two. And Reverend, you could not have put it better than when you said that the mindset of the individuals in government or whatever it is that we are having this discussion is that who are a bejo. They know that now they have a certain backing around it and people have had this nostalgic feeling about discussions about this matter because they can always make reference to 2 years ago. But that was not the promise that they gave to us. Why? You played the video of Honorable Kujetu Ablakwa, the Foreign Affairs Minister, a cabinet minister, who told us right after cabinet that we are going to see a fight against illegal small-scale mining activities in this country that has never been seen before. He was one of the champions who called for a ban on small-scale mining activities in any form. He could have told us that is the discussion that the state has had, and that is what they are going to do. Because once you revoke licenses of small-scale mining activity who are doing it legally, and you also do not have a ban, and you are also in the state of wanting to have more proceeds from there, Evans, straight away, you are opening the floodgates for impunity to happen, and that is what we are having now. Evans, it is worse than before. Now the backyards of people are being dug for gold, even where people are prospecting everywhere. Ours is to do the advocacy. Ours is to bring the minister and be asking the questions. I've found inundating calls from the Forestry Commission asking for help from us to be able to ask the minister what efforts they are putting in place in as much as to get them more people to protect the forest reserves that we have. Now, they don't even have forest gas in the numbers that they could use to contain. So therefore, they are not bothered about reporting that again because they cannot report that now because, just as you said, either they can be sanctioned or whatever can happen to them. So please, we are not improving in any way, but it is sad Reverend Dr. Ashibe said that maybe the middle class has also gone to sleep and the rest. Yes, they may have gone to sleep because those that engineered the revolt 2 years ago, you have also gone to sleep. So who is there to galvanize them again, support them again? The roads are not blocked. Where we blocked them during demonstrations are still there. Why can't we use the same effort that we used then to do the same thing today? I am sad.
Yeah, I mean,
where our 8 men were going to land, the Obuasi airstrip, that they eventually could not get there and perished. Go there now and go and see the Obuasi airstrip where these men perished. At least that place we could have fortified the fight in Obuasi just to at least give a semblance of trying to honor their death in terms of the fight. Go there now. Go and see the Obuasi airstrip. Just by the size of the Obuasi airstrip, it's all been dug out.
Are you saying so? We have galamsey in the Obuasi airstrip as we speak.
Evans, can you repeat what
I'm
you
just checking. You say we have galamsey around the Obuasi airstrip where we're going to land.
That is what I'm telling you now.
Towards the
and that is a fact.
Towards it,
yeah. Dr. Shibu is confirming that.
We cannot be running away from these are real facts that we are talking about.
That's true.
Okay. You see, Evans, these are real facts that we are talking about. We are not making them up. That is the challenge that we have now.
And obviously that wasn't there last year.
That wasn't there last year.
It was there. That's not true. Please.
No, it was there.
That's not true. This again, you see. So please, this thing about trying to act as if galamsey is bad now, but let's be very frank about it. This did not start today.
Doctor,
this did not start today.
Please.
You spoke.
Mr. Kuno, just a second. Mr. Kuno, just a second.
Once they take off the small areas that they are, they will now be encroaching upon the large scales where you chair the Chamber of Commerce, the Chamber of Mines.
Just a second. Just a second.
The problem is, yesterday is gone and we are here today. What are we doing today?
Yeah, Mr. Kuno, just a second. Just a second. I want to hear Dr. Ashibe for a second. Dr. Ashibe, yes.
Well, you see, I'm happy Honorable is talking like this. And me, what I wish I would have gotten was to get Honorable speaking like this when I was standing by the former president in Akufo-Addo and asking him what he was doing about Chemawun to me. What I would want is to be able to get a minister, an MP in the current government, seeing that this thing that we're talking about, it is not about equalization, it's not about partisanship. Even behind all of this is you find out that both parties get involved in the illegality. So I hear him that yesterday is past and gone, and we all need to fight to make sure we protect what it is that is getting damaged. But you see, like he gave the example of Obuasi. The Obuasi challenge, has been there. That whole area, the time and he talks about the issues of encroachment. The encroachment on large-scale mines is something that has been going on for a very long time that we need to deal with. So I hear him when he says that we need to do a lot more. Yes, we need to do a lot more. But all of us need to do a lot more. As we're telling ourselves to do a lot more, they need to look, the political class, they need to look themselves in the face. Currently, the NDC are the ones who are in power who we need to hold their feet to fire. But the MPP also, they also have some parts to play in it. And so I am happy that he's here talking about it. But let's not, once we start getting into this equalization, what then you get is happening is that you then start tearing this thing and making it NDC MPP when the damage still happens and then people are getting, away with it. So yes,
I'm not here to equalize. That is why I told you yesterday is gone. If you don't talk about it today and you tell me it's been there a long time, it tells you that there is no hope. You are referring to the past. I'm referring today and into the future. And that is the point. There was no tax for galamsey in 2025. But in 2026, there was a Joy FM documentary on tax on galamsey. Did you ever see anybody in 2025 issuing permits for excavators in galamsey pit or some fines in galamsey pit? Let us not do this. I am only telling you. The promise of yesterday has not been fulfilled today, and therefore the future is bleak. And that is the point I'm making.
Mr. Kuno, because you are a member of parliament, I need to ask you, we're all asking questions about getting an update on what is happening, something in a forum that you can compare answers. Parliament is one of those forums, and you are on the committee. You can actually demand that the minister appears before you, not only the minister, all the other agencies. I know Parliament has been recalled for an emergency sitting. When are we going to see a push from yourself, your ranking, and other members of that committee to get the answers on our behalf? Are we going to see that?
I probably think that we may not have followed parliamentary proceedings in the last 2 meetings. We've called the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources to the floor. I personally have asked several questions about that. I've one time even engaged Erasmus in a private conversations about some of these things, if you would remember. So it is not that we are not engaging. It is the point that now they are so insulated and defiant that they are not even open up for discussions on these matters. That is the point. And because they feel like they are insulated, that is why you ask the questions on the floor, they will give the promises and nothing is being done. I believe that one of the ways also, just as you said, that is to use the government assurance the same way that it was being used in the last parliament. And also, Evans, when Dr. Kenashide says politicians, we must look to our faces, I would also urge him that civil society must look to the face of government and continuously pound on that. Because if we look to their faces, it will become a game that somebody might think we are equalizing. But when you civil society stand your grounds as you stood yesterday and continuously pounds on the doors of government, demand what the promises were yesterday to be fulfilled today so that the future can be better.
And on that note, let me give quick words, a few seconds, because I need to wrap up, to Reverend. Reverend, what must happen now? Because I think there's consensus that the fight is getting a bit, the life is coming out of the fight. We need to find a second wind, if you like, third wind, whatever it is, to go back into this fight as vigorously. How do we do that? And are we going to see the Calabacious Conference that used to really galvanize us? Are we going to see a renewed energy from your Lord? I mean, very briefly, if you like.
The discussions have been had. The bishops have just concluded their August administrative board meeting turned to plenary, and galamsey was discussed.
Okay.
I can promise you that something will happen. Exactly when, I can't tell, but I know that the bishops are not going to stay silent. They are not going to be quiet. The fight will be brought to those who need to do something about it. But Evans, what I wanted to say was this: that yes, sometimes we measure, if you want, the efforts of civil society or the faith-based organizations, maybe merely by the news reportage or things like that. But maybe that doesn't do it justice enough, because I can tell you that since we joined civil society in meeting His Excellency the President, there have been various efforts. Not least, just last June, on the 17th of June, the bishops went to meet His Excellency the President.
Yeah.
So I want to assure the public that the church, hasn't relaxed at all. Maybe the strategies have changed slightly from merely sort of writing to actually engaging those we think are duty bearers. But as I've said, shortly, the bishops are going to be heard very soon, if not seen.
Okay.
Because the fight is not over until it is over.
Fight is not over. Darryl, 30 seconds. Are we going to see anything different from your end?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the government has taken its eye off the ball. We've been sleeping on the job. It's getting worse. The solutions are at hand. It's a matter of the state really doing everything. We have the facilitators, the lawyers available to us, the landowners are there, traditional authorities, DCs, MPs, all of these people are both facilitators and people who can really offer the solution. It's about time the state really take the bull by the horns. I think we'll be
and civil society.
Yeah. I think yes, civil society. We have already been rallying. There's a rallying call. We've been working on it. So I think that, like Ken said, there's more that you are going to see because we ourselves, we have reflected and we are really disappointed in everything that we are seeing.
Yeah.
The last accountability series report by the Honorable Minister for Land was not encouraging at all. And that already tells us that there's more we all need to do.
Yeah, listen, we need to return to this. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and when we do, we'll get this, especially when the Catholic Bishops' Conference is told us that the fight is not over. We'll see. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
That's right. Did you see that? That is me. Without me, that tap would just be decoration.
That's so. So when the water comes, where exactly is it waiting? Pipe. I also didn't see any bedroom no. Me tank. Me na me kura.
At least I move water.
And I keep it safe.
Without me, nothing flows.
What's happening?
I bring the life.
I preserve it.
Hey, why is the water going on and off like this? Maybe I can do it alone.
Maybe I need you too.
Strong, reliable, built for every home.
Syntex pipes and tanks. The perfect
water team. Syntex. Are you strong? Are you tough?
Upgrade your print game with Konica Minolta, proudly powered by SkySat Technologies. From all-in-one machines that print, scan, and copy to professional systems and heavy-duty production machines, we deliver unmatched performance. Right now, SkySat has an unbeatable offer. 1 entire year of free servicing on all Konica Minolta machines. That's 12 months of expert maintenance for new and existing customers. Visit our new VIP Print Center at Pegasus Place, Airport Residential Area for a live demonstration. Call us on 050-164-5180 or 0302-798-829. Again, it's 050-164-5180 or 0302-798-829. SkySat Technologies. Performance that delivers every time.
This July, get ready for stories that will make your heart race. From love and passion to secrets and lies that can ruin everything. Catch the sizzling episodes of Sins and Roses at 4 p.m., Domenica Monteiro at 5 p.m., Be My Sunshine at 6 p.m., and Avenida Brazil at 7 p.m. Central African Time. Only on Novelas Plus, Channel 134 on GoTV.
They tee up someone in red, and it goes to
That's who goal you for. What 5 Champions League? You want to know? I be the real goat. The left magician.
Who is the goat? Ghana Jollof or Nigerian Jollof?
Ghana Jollof has no co-equal. The smell alone. Oh my God.
No, that shift. You two they lie, eh? Now the same stew when they use cook the rice and then they go put them for top.
Hey, you are lying. Ghana Jollof.
I knew this year. Forget everybody. Yeah.
My guy.
Put some respect on the goat.
On the goat. The only goat I know lives in Tama.
Every year we dey give to you back.
We are talking about BET. I want to hear the face.
Except be the goat, huh?
My guy, him be the goat.
Though our choice of goats may differ in football, music, and jollof, Alomo Bitters always brings us together. Alomo, experience greatness in every moment. Drink responsibly. Not for sale to persons under 18 and recommended to pregnant women. This advert is FDA approved.
The seed and not...
Pressure is on, the clock is ticking, and everything is riding on one dish. Season 5 brings you tougher challenges, sharper judges, and the most fearless young chefs Ghana has ever seen before. One will sweat, one will cry, and one will lift up that trophy. Who's got what it takes? This is where the next generation of great chefs get their start, and this season they are not holding back. So pull up a seat or grab a popcorn, or better still, join us in the kitchen. Big Chef Junior Season 5 shows every Sunday at 4 p.m. only on Joy Prime. Now let's see what these kids are really made of.
Big Chef Junior Season 5 is proudly brought to you by Frital Vegetable Oil. You deserve a life of goodness. Fortune Spread, yummy delicious, always on point. Gino truly cares. Didi Shito, Efia Dienye, Sankofa Natural Spices, no salt, no MSG, no preservatives. Genie Mayonnaise Premium, Ghana's best-selling mayonnaise. Left Signature, driving progress through technology and engineering excellence. Wisdom Salt, bringing food to life.
Gold, bauxite, manganese, lithium, Ghana's minerals, and billions, and now anchor our national reserves. But in the communities that host the mines, the question is simple: what stays here? On the 18th of August 2026, that question gets answered in public.
Here in the catchment communities, this is what's really at stake: jobs, local content, corporate social responsibility. People here want a fair share of what's mined on their land. And in the room, the conversation will be about what the large-scale mining companies are doing to better livelihoods in their catchment areas, and also the gold board reforms in the artisanal and small-scale mining sector. And finally, the signing of the catchment charter, which will put all these commitments into writing. The National Mining Dialogue 2026, rethinking the social license to operate. Regulators, large-scale mining companies, small-scale mining companies, gold buyers, traditional leaders, and host communities, all at one table.
Live from Kempinski Hotel, Accra, on Joy News, Adom TV, and Asempa FM, and all our social media handles. Chairperson for the event, Gamanche, His Royal Majesty, King Takite Kuchu II. Special guest of honor, Dr. Julius Debra, Chief of Staff to the President of the Republic of Ghana. Special guests, the Honorable Emmanuel Amakofi-Boa,
Minister for Lands and Natural Resources and Member of Parliament, Elembele constituency. The National Mining Dialogue will be held on the 18th of August 2026, 12 p.m. The National Mining Dialogue is powered by Akufo-Addo on Asempa FM in collaboration with Semis DS Group Limited, partners, the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, the Minerals Commission, the Ghana Medical Trust Fund, and the Ghana Gold Board. Gold, bauxite, manganese, lithium, Ghana's minerals, and billions, and now anchor our national reserves. But in the communities that host the mines, the question is simple: what stays here? On the 18th of August 2026, that question gets answered in public. Here in the catchment communities, this is what's really at stake. Jobs, local content, corporate social responsibility. People here want a fair share of what's mined on their land. And in the room, the conversation will be about what the large-scale mining companies are doing to better livelihoods in their catchment areas, and also the Gold Board reforms in the artisanal and small-scale mining sector. And finally, the signing of the Catchment Charter, which will put all these commitments into writing. The National Mining Dialogue 2026, rethinking the social license to operate. Regulators, large-scale mining companies, small-scale mining companies, gold buyers, traditional leaders, and host communities, all at one table. Live from Kempiski Hotel, Accra, on Joy News, Adum TV, and Asempa FM, and all our social media handles. Chairperson for the event, Gamanche, His Royal Majesty, King Takite Kuchu II. Special guest of honor, Dr. Julius Debra, Chief of Staff to the President of the Republic of Ghana. Special guests, the Honorable Emmanuel Amakofi-Boa, Minister for Lands and Natural Resources and Member of Parliament, Elembele constituency. The National Mining Dialogue will be held on the 18th of August 2026, 12 p.m. The National Mining Dialogue is powered by Akufo-Addo on Asempa FM in collaboration with Semis DS Group Limited, partners, the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, the Minerals Commission, the Ghana Medical Trust Fund, and the Ghana Gold Board.
The pressure is on, the clock is ticking, and everything is riding on one dish. Season 5 brings you tougher challenges, sharper judges, and the most fearless young chefs Ghana has ever seen before. One will sweat, one will cry, and one will lift up that trophy. Who's got what it takes? This is where the next generation of great chefs get their start, and this season, they are not holding back. So pull up a seat, or grab a popcorn, or better still, join us in the kitchen. Big Chef Junior Season 5 shows every Sunday at 4 p.m. only on Joy Prime. Now let's see what these kids are really made of.
Big Chef Junior Season 5 is proudly brought to you by Frito Vegetable Oil. You deserve a life of goodness. Fortune Spread. Yummy delicious, always on point. Gino truly cares. Didi Shito, Efia Dienye, Sankofa Natural Spices, no salt, no MSG, no preservatives. Genie Mayonnaise Premium, Ghana's best-selling mayonnaise. Left Signature, driving progress through technology and engineering excellence. Wisdom Salt, bringing food to life.
question comes to me more often than I expected. What exactly do I find in choral music? Sometimes it's said jokingly, sometimes out of curiosity, and sometimes it is said in a way that makes me feel like I need to explain myself. Because to many of my friends, this is music they associate with older people, church services, funerals, with something slow and distant from the world we live in now. And yet, this is where I keep returning.
Some people discover music later in life. But for me, music was already waiting even before I understood it. I was born into a family where choral music wasn't just something we listened to, it was something we lived. I grew up hearing rehearsals at home, watching my family sing, and then I fell in love with choral music. And even today, I sing. Guide me, O the great Jehovah.
I'm growing in a time where music moves quickly, where songs become popular overnight and disappear just as fast, where attention is everything and silence is almost uncomfortable. So choosing something that does not follow that rhythm can feel like choosing to stand apart. And sometimes I do feel that difference. Because when people ask why I'm still holding on to choral music, what they're really asking is why I'm choosing something that does not follow with the times. So I begin to look for answers, not just in what I feel, but in the people who have stayed with this music long before me. People like Dr. James Farikamal, who has spent most of his life in choral music.
Choral music gives me the peace I want. It's the most peaceful music. It's the most work with advanced literature and a lot of things. So being a child, I learned so much from it, and I've always been glued to it. That's why I'm still in choral music.
Now, peace is not the first thing that most young people look for in music. But listening to him, I begin to understand why it really matters. Because choral music does not overwhelm you. It settles you, and it gives you something steady to hold on to. For others like Kwame Appiah-Kubi Jr., it's not just about the feeling, but it's also about the discipline that comes with it.
Choral music, I think, demands a lot in terms of learning. So you are made to learn every little thing that has to do with music, because you have to read music to be able to do choral music. And so there's nobody who can be in choral music without learning the rudiments of music and grow with it.